Shout out to our sponsor, Sherry's Berries. To get 20% off your order of $29 or more, just visit www.berries.com, click the microphone in the top right corner, and enter code THEKNOW in the search bar. Welcome to The Know, I'm Mica. One of last year's biggest surprise hits was the remastered Crash Bandicoot trilogy. While we knew it wasn't likely that it would remain a PS4 exclusive forever, it now looks like we're getting some hints that it could be showing up on some other platforms soon. This information comes via an official licensed merchandising catalog where merchandiser GBI commented on some of Activision's future plans. According to GBI, Activision has a 5-year timeline for Crash Bandicoot brand, which involves not only a PC and Switch release in 2018, but also a brand new Crash Bandicoot title in 2019. Please be a racing game. We've seen retail listings for Crash on Xbox over the last few months, but this is the first we've heard of possibly coming to Nintendo Switch. Either way, it's gonna sell a crap ton, and I know I'm gonna buy it. The co-op prison game, A Way Out, is coming out next month, and its director, Josef Fares, who's been known for making some pretty outlandish statements, is talking about what sets his game apart from other story-driven and narrative-based games. In a new interview with Edge magazine, Fares commented on the comparison to some games from the likes of Telltale or Quantic Dream, saying, "Those games are too passive for me. I would like to have more control. One could say that you could control the story, but while you're doing it and affecting it, in a sense you're not, you know? A Way Out is not about that. I think the comparison is fine from a cinematic perspective, but not the way you choose your story. This is a hand-tailored story all the way." A Way Out releases really soon on March 23rd for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Games as a Service keeps getting crapped on for its negative connotations, but Square Enix is saying that it can be done in a way that doesn't offend the player, and that gamers are focusing a little too much on the negative aspects rather than the benefits when it's done correctly. From that same issue of Edge magazine, Square Enix CEO Yosuke Masuda said, "I think a lot of the time when people hear the phrase games as a service, they always focus on the problem of microtransactions. They really close out the meaning to just being that. We look at it in a much broader sense. If you look at the idea of adding things to a game after release to keep it fresh and exciting, to keep people playing it over a long time, and all the different ways you can do that, it comes to express a lot more. People are too focused on the problems. You know, it's hard to blame people for being focused on worrying signs from overreaching companies, but he does have a point in the way some games have handled live service updates. Final Fantasy 15 is honestly one of the best examples of doing games as a service right, and if you haven't seen how they add extra content, even though the game has been out for over a year now, I suggest you check it out. Assassin's Creed Origins gathered some negative sentiment from PC players thanks to a double dose of DRM in the form of not only de novo, but also VM Protect, and now it sounds like the game has finally been cracked. A cracking group made the announcement on the Crackwatch subreddit, and typically this usually results in the DRM being turned off, which might be welcome to the game's PC players considering some were reporting performance issues. Considering the game stayed out of Pirates Lairs for about 3 months now, it sounds like it did the job that Ubisoft wanted, so those first few months are often when a game makes most of its money. Could Valve get acquired by Microsoft? Well, that rumor went across the internet at warp speed recently, and now no less than Gabe Newell himself has weighed in on the matter. You might remember recent reports suggesting that Valve might be a potential target for Microsoft, and after that news broke, some concerned fans asked Valve via its contact page if it was true. Well, Gabe himself has responded to a few people. He emailed one and said, "Not that I'm aware of," so it looks like that rumor has been squashed because you'd assume that Gabe would, know about such things. If you are excited about the release of Yakuza 6, we've got a smidgen of bad news for you. But don't worry, it's just a smidgen. The game's release date has been pushed back just slightly. It's now going to release on April 17th instead of March 20th as originally planned. Sega made the announcement in a Twitter post saying, "This was a tough business decision we didn't make lightly," and added this will give us more time to line things up before launch. But to soften the blow, they added that a demo for the game will be available later this month on February 27th. So, okay, it's a little longer wait than we expected, but if the game is good, we will forgive you, Sega. Now get back to work. Make that game good. It is no secret that skins are a freaking big deal in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but this one is probably the biggest deal of them all. A rare skin in the game has just sold for more than $61,000 freaking dollars for some reason. Yeah, you heard that right, $61,000. The skin is called the Souvenir AWP Dragon Lore, and it's sold on the site opskins.com for $61,052. Oh, and 63 cents. According to .esports, the skin is extremely rare, and it can only be obtained by viewers from weapon skin drops during big CSGO tournaments. Oh, and it's also got stickers from various tournaments and from Counter-Strike Pro Tyler Skadoodle Latham. So people think it's the highest price ever for an in-game item, and obviously for that kind of money you could buy a lot of other things, like a new car, or thousands of chicken nuggets, or some really cute shoes, or, you know, a car. But hey, you know what? Whoever bought that, I hope you really enjoy it. The only thing more surprising than the Eagles' upset at the Super Bowl victory last night was Netflix announcing that it was releasing the new Cloverfield film right after the Super Bowl was over. In a mold-breaking move, the streaming service released the very first footage of the Cloverfield paradox during the Super Bowl and said, hey, why don't you watch it after the game? Usually movies, even streaming exclusives, take months of careful advertising, strategy, and hype building before release, and Netflix threw all that out the window and became the biggest buzzed event of the evening. It's no small feat when you consider the other giant franchise films also clawing for attention in this prime advertising window. Netflix is always very coy with their numbers, so we may never know how successful this maneuver was, but it's a safe bet a whole hell of a lot of people had a really impromptu movie night after the big game. Avengers Infinity War, Solo a Star Wars Story, Mission Impossible Fallout, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, that was lots of movies with colons in the title, and they all had a big Super Bowl night last night. Solo was the one that generated the most buzz in the geek community simply because this was the first time any real footage has been seen from the upcoming Star Wars film, which is only 3 months away from release. The trailer gives us our first look at Alden Ehrenreich stepping into the big boots of Harrison Ford's iconic Han Solo, and Donald Glover looking pretty awesome and badass and smooth as Lando Calrissian in that wonderful jacket that I want. One of the only non-franchise titles to make waves was Dwayne Johnson's vehicle Skyscraper, which kinda looks like the towering inferno was grafted onto Die Hard. Cable and streaming services also forked over the big bucks to advertise shows like HBO's Westworld Season 2, Hulu's J.J. Abrams / Stephen King collaboration Castle Rock, and Amazon John Krasinski starring Jack Ryan reboot. In short, it was a bigger year than usual for fan-friendly looks at 2018's most high-profile entertainment. Cryptocurrency is cooling off a little bit after hitting record highs late last year, and now a bunch of big banks are saying, no thanks, get out of here. Yeah, if you're one of those people trying to jump on the bandwagon to buy some cryptocurrency on your credit card, 3 major banks say they will not allow it. Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, and Citigroup told Bloomberg that they're stopping transactions involving digital currency with their credit cards. But if you want to use a debit card, that's totally fine with them. Previously, Capital One and Discover also said that they wouldn't allow their cards to be used to buy currencies like Bitcoin. Banking officials cited concerns like people using stolen cards to buy the currency and fears of money laundering. And honestly, if you're buying stuff like Bitcoin on credit, you maybe want to take a deep breath and do something else, like putting all of your cash in a big pile and setting it on fire. That's way more productive. Well, that's all the news we have for you today. Remember to comment on any of your favorite news stories in the comments below. And for more news just like this, like our video, and if you're new around here, subscribe to the know. Shout out to Sherry's Berries for sponsoring this update. Do you want to make a big impression this Valentine's Day? Well, think inside the box with Sherry's Berries. Your dipped strawberries will arrive in Sherry Berries' signature gift box with a beautiful ribbon, no gift wrapping required, and no listeners will get 20% off any order of $29 or more. Valentine's Day is coming sooner than you think, so get your order in. Just visit berries.com, click the microphone in the top right corner, and enter promo code THEKNOW.